Hey Chicos, I'm just going to really quickly explain the quiz you took today, or the practice quiz you took today, just because it's a little concerning seeing some of the answers coming in. There was one mistake on our part, but most of you, I fixed that for all of you that took it, so that's not the issue. So I'm just going to take it like a student and just explain. It's really imperative that you are understanding the concept, and depending on if you came to the Zooms or if you went to the modules over the past week, you may have gotten a little different explanation, so maybe the explanation didn't work for you. But all right, so let's look at these correct or incorrect to start. Really, these should be quite easy once you understand the concept, because you're just having to look at the conjugation of the two verbs. And so each sentence is supposed to be saying an if this were, then this would happen, whatever. So this sentence does not say that. This sentence says, you will visit your grandparents if you were able to. And so we don't want to say you will, we want to say you would visit your grandparents if you were able to. So the combination, again, I don't know if you went to the module or the Zoom, but the combination is, so the verb next to the C is the new conjugation, the one that kind of looks a little bit funky. It ends usually in ada or iera, so that's next to the C. The other verb should be conjugated with the whole verb plus ia, because that means would. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So correct or incorrect. So again, if we're thinking about what I just said, okay, the one next to the C is the were, that's that new looking form. And then the other verb is the whole verb plus ia, which this is. So this says, we would come to your party if you lived closer. So because this one's conjugated in the were form and this one's conjugated in the would, that is correct. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to move a little bit quickly. If the professors, again, I don't really even need to be able to read this necessarily. I just need to look at the two conjugations. But so let's look at for our C. Okay, so here's our C. And the verb closest to the C is conjugated in that funky new way, which means were. So if the teachers did not put or were not to put the work on the calendar, the students would not see it. So our other verb in the sentence is the whole verb plus ia, which it should be. So this is a correct sentence. Right? If the government, so let's look for our if, there's our if, and the verb next to it is conjugated in that new way. This almost looks like the future tense, but it's not future because it doesn't have an accent. So this is that new tense, which means were. So if the government were not to make or did not make good decisions, so let's look at our second verb. Our second verb should be the whole verb plus ia, and it is. So this is a correct sentence. If the government did not make good decisions, society would be frustrated. I think we have one more of these. So let's look for our C. So here's our C. And the verb next to it or closest to it is conjugated in that new way. So this is correct here. So then we just check our other verb. Our other verb should be conjugated whole verb plus ia, and it is not. So this says, famous people will not understand the challenges of life if they never lived a normal life. We want to say famous people would not understand. So this verb is conjugated incorrectly. So the sentence is wrong. Okay, just kidding. Here's another one. Oh, this is a good one because this is actually irregular. So this is the verb conseguir, and you can see the E changed to an I here. So just one of those tricky preterite conjugations. Okay, so let's look. Here's the C, and here's our new looking tense, which means were, so that's correct. So we have the conseguira next to the C. So then we just have to check our other verb. Is our other verb the whole verb plus ia, which means would, and it is. So yes, if my family were to get a dog, the house would be dirtier. So that is correct. Maybe there are 10 of these. Oy. Okay, you can always skip through the video if you understand these ones now. So here's the C. Next to the C, it's always after it, so we know it's this one, not this one. So the verb right here is the new tense next to the C, so this means if I had or if I were to have more time. But then when we check our other verb, the other verb is not conjugated with the whole verb plus ia, so this is not correct because that is not would. Okay, I look for my C. I already can tell that this is wrong right off the bat because the verb next to the C is not conjugated with that new way, because this is just the present regular tense. So this says, if I win the lottery, I would buy a car, but we should say, if I won the lottery, or if I were to win the lottery, I would buy a car. So this one's not right. Okay, here we go. This is where we're having more of our issues. So hopefully this helps to hear it said out loud. So again, the same thing we were just doing before. Okay, so we're looking for our C. Here's our C. The verb with the C is the new tense, which is the past subjunctive. So that's the were. Okay, that's the harder one to conjugate. The other one that's not with the C is the easier one to conjugate because that's the would. So I'm going to start there. So I see los alumnos, so it's more than one person. So I'm going to do the whole verb plus the ia. So that's what I need for this one. Now this blank is the harder one, and especially this verb because this verb is irregular. So remember, this is where we go to eos preterite, take off the rone, and then add the ada or iera. Okay, so I would start here, but you can see that's super irregular, so you would have to know that. So this is irregular. I take off the rone, back up there, and now I add my ra, ras, ra, ramos, run. And because it's los maestros, I'm going to add run. Okay. So that's those two. So again, it might be easier if you think of it as, okay, the one next to the C is the hard one. The other one is the would, which is the verb plus ia. So I'm going to start here. So it's the whole verb plus ia. And then over here, this is the harder one. Again, venir is irregular. So I'm going to conjugate in the eos preterite. There we go. It's irregular because it has vi. Take off the rone. And because it's in the to form, I add ras. If you did not come to my party, I would feel very frustrated. Okay, I'm gonna run out of time on this quiz because I'm talking so much. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna skip the one that's harder first. So I'm gonna come over here, so the one that's not with the C, and I'm gonna do the easier conjugation first. So that's estaría. Now this one's the harder one because I'm gonna start with the eos preterite. This is not irregular. I'm gonna back it up, take off the rone, and add ra because it's just one person. So entendiera. If my mom did not understand the truth, or wait, if my mom understood the truth, she would be very frustrated. Okay, I'm going to quickly go through a few more here. So here's my C. So I know this one's the hard one, or the harder one. So over here, I'm going to start. So it's mis hermanos, so it'd be the whole verb plus ian. And then this is the harder one. So I'm going to start with ayudaron, which is regular, no problem. Back it up. And then add ra, because it's just PO form. So my siblings would take better care of themselves, or no, would take less care of themselves if I did not help them. Okay, I think we just have 3 more here. So again, I'm going to skip the harder one first because this one is my C. So I'm going to come over here and do the whole verb plus ia. It's just one life, so it's seria. This one I go to eos preterite first. I back up, take off the rone. And the thing that a lot of students were missing here was the accent. So we do Ramos. We add Ramos, but remember the Ramos has the accent mark in front of it, and that's why, because there's an accent right there. Okay, just a couple more. Gotta beat the buzzer here. Oh, actually, great. I'm gonna stop there. So these sections are just meant to kind of drill it into your brain that, so not only is it's mostly vocab, to be honest, so this is not really a grammar skill, but it's just to drill it into your brain that, okay, so mi hermana estaría muy contenta. This is estaría because this is the other grammar over there, which is were. So my sister would be very happy if she were, or if she got tickets to see Shawn Mendes. So this is more of a vocab activity really than grammar. So I'm more concerned that you understood ones like the conjugation. So hopefully this method helps if you were kind of struggling. So maybe always start with the easier verb. And again, the easier verb is the one that's not with the C. And then the one that's with the C is where you've got to start with that eos preterite. So the hardest part is really just making sure you know eos preterite. So maybe if that's where you were missing your conjugations, just make sure to find a way to study those. Conjuguemos is really great, or just going back to some of that preterite imperfect stuff we did a while ago. That's going to be your biggest thing that really helps you conjugate those right. Okay, I hope this helped. If it didn't help, sorry, but hopefully just hearing it in English one more time kind of helped figure it out. Okay, have a nice day, chicos. Adios.